What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So another epic day for Lucid investors. I want to give you a good breakdown of what the data points are saying and why it is up 13+% today. So I'm going to go over all of that. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get right to it. So when it comes to it, like I said, up 13%, the technicals are looking very, very optimistic. It did unfortunately fail to get over that 50-day moving average, but like I've mentioned in the past, historically, Lucid has always really struggled with that damn 50-day moving average. And other than this kind of snippet right here, last time it actually went over it was in July, and prior to that was in November of 2021. So that's definitely been a very big pivot for it. But if it does get over it, then definitely can actually have and do a lot of good things. But like I said, I'll go over all the data points and things that you need to know, but the technicals are starting to look very good because of several different reasons. One of which is just broader optimism within the economy. Of course, a lot of good earnings are coming out. And of course, GDP came out and it did signal that a lot of companies are having, I guess, lower inventories and just to anticipate a potential recession in the future. But by them doing so, they're kind of mitigating risk. So definitely a lot of companies on a global aspect, or at least on the economy's aspect, is doing the right thing. So of course, that's very positive. But in specific to Lucid, why it is going up, there's two different things. One of which is just the estimates that have been completed by analysts for the upcoming earnings. Some last minute ratings have come in to really bump up their earnings per share estimate. So definitely I'll touch on that in a second. But more specifically, they recently had their shareholder meeting on which everything went to the board directors' plan. So everything was tentatively passed and approved. But there was one individual right here who made it on the board of directors. I don't want to butcher their name or anything like that, but you guys get what I'm saying. As you can see, this individual right here is a part of the PIF. And in reality, having another individual on the board of directors from the PIF just kind of solidifies their connection. But like a lot of people have said in the past, whenever Lucid comes into trouble, the PIF, one way or another, will be very much there. So kind of their mentalities are going to be very much in line. So definitely, I think that is going to be a very, very positive thing. And you never know, right? That might potentially lead to the PIF increasing their position in, for instance, Lucid. And like I said, based on yesterday's video, the volume is very much abnormal. And even today as well, you do see some nice outliers right here based on the volume. So potentially to indicate that big money is still getting into Lucid. So definitely a very positive thing in that regard. So let me know you guys' thoughts on that. But when it comes down to it, like I mentioned, the upcoming Q1 earnings is on May the 8th, 2023. And analysts play a very big part in the sentiment behind the scenes. So when it comes to it, as you can see, earnings per share right now based on 6 analysts is -39 cents. So it was previously -40 cents. So it kind of went up, I guess, down in that sense, or obviously in a positive way in reality. So analysts are seeing a little bit more of a positive aspect for their upcoming earnings. I don't know if that has something to do with, for instance, Tesla, maybe, who knows, but definitely them increasing their outlook on Lucid is definitely a very positive thing. But when it comes down to revenue though, they did unfortunately lower their estimates. So it does show that there was and is 6 estimates, and they have a consensus of 199.36 million in Q1 to be generated. And previously it was 205.19 million. And 3 months ago it was 375. So obviously Lucid has since released their Q1 numbers, so their deliveries and production and so forth. So again, I think it's a little bit lower than expectations, and normally Lucid does fall a little bit lower than the estimates right now, and as you can see based on the blue lines right here. So definitely something to consider. But when it comes down to earnings per share, that's a very positive sign that analysts are seeing Lucid in a little bit more of a positive light. So when it comes down to it, let me know you guys' thoughts on that in the comments below. I still do feel that after the earnings, there might be some analysts that are really looking at Lucid. Of course, based on the Q4 earnings though, things haven't necessarily been the most optimistic for this upcoming Q4 earnings, especially when they talk on margins and how it might be a little bit lower than what people are assuming. But despite that though, based on the Q4 earnings, they did signal that in Q2, they're going to be starting international deliveries. And based on Bear's Workshop, it does appear to be very much working. So again, in the past, when Lucid has said that they're going to do something, sometimes it's kind of a hit and miss. But so far in 2023, whatever they have said they have and are going to be doing, they've either exceeded it or just that are in line with it. So definitely I think that's a pretty positive thing in that regard. So once again, let me know you guys' thoughts on that in the comments below. So that's a pretty good summary of what is influencing Lucid right now. I'll give you guys a quick summary of the other data points. So like I mentioned, based on the technicals, things are looking very, very good. Some points to watch for though, as you can see right here, is $8.13. So it is right above that pivot point. So a very big kind of resistance that it did break past. And based on this right now, stochastic is currently at 33, but a nice bullish sentiment is behind the scenes. And looking at momentum number, retail investors are absolutely loving what has been happening with Lucid. So definitely shows that behind the scenes, Lucid is alive. So let me know your guys' thoughts on that, and give yourself a shout out if you have been buying, selling, holding, what you have been doing behind the scenes. I myself have not been buying per se, but I've just been doing options and covered calls just to collect some additional premium and so forth, especially during this time frame, which was very predictable, just following the fib levels. But right now seems to be a very good indicator that things are going to be trending up, in my opinion, of course. Who isn't a financial advisor? So you guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. I'll give you guys a quick overview of what shorts are doing, because like I said, a lot of people see this going up like 13% and plus, and they automatically assume it is a short squeeze. So short score is currently 89, utilization is 100%, but shorts surprisingly are still increasing, minor though, but 298,000 shares, which is kind of small, a drop in the bucket, because there is 151.63 million shares overall being shorted, and that works out to be almost about 24% of the free float. So it's kind of interesting the fact that they are increasing their position, but potentially, like I've said, there could be a very good catalyst that could prompt a squeeze, and one of which would be the gravity, especially based on the news that has recently come out that they are physically testing it. That usually is a pretty good indication that they are on track for at least unveiling it. So again, just pay attention to the news over the next couple of days. As far as options activity, you do see a little bit more evenly divided. So today, 5.14 million in call premium, 5.19 million in put premium. So a lot of big money is kind of hedging both ways, but a lot of big money regardless is getting in. So definitely a pretty good thing in that regard, especially if you are one of the retail investors that likes to follow what big money is doing. Definitely they are very much getting in. And as you can see, based on this is a lot of the big institutions that are purchasing on the secondary market, and based on the bid and the ask, majority of which are all buys. So once again, I think that might be a pretty positive sign behind the scenes. So overall, that's a good summarization of all the data points, all the recent updates, why it is going up. And at the end of the day, I think that there is still a lot more room for Lucid to go up fundamentally, especially as well based on this. The latest update on Morningstar does put Lucid's fair market value at 1105. So potentially, like I said, and I've said in the past, Lucid could be seen as a very good discount play. So this kind of gives a little bit more validation to this whole thing about why the PIF might be increasing or want to increase their position in Lucid behind the scenes. But of course, we'll just have to wait until I think it is August when the latest round of 13Fs come down the pipeline in reality. So once again, let me know you guys' thoughts on all of that in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing I just wanted to share with you is Moomoo, and that link is in the description below and also the comments. Just sign up for a free account and you get one free stock. Even if you just do that, take advantage of free. This is only for April, so a couple days left. Link in the description below and also the comments. But without further ado, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.